bit. You do look a bit light, Mark. I tell you, this. As my head now, is it?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I look like I need a holiday. I think it's the light in here. You know what I mean? I look like I've been to Iceland for the week.
Oh, welcome back, guys. How you been? Anyway, how's everyone been? Charlie, it's we thought you must have got lost in that bungalow of yours. How's it
Yeah,
been? Where at?
yeah, it's been good, man.
Where at?
Oh, mate, I tell you, it's been so busy. Like, just I don't know, work is like a bit mental. Yeah, Christmas was a bit insane as well. So yeah, just have like 101 things going on. So I don't know, it's just life now, isn't it? It all seems hectic.
I don't know. Me and Mark, we've been feet up, haven't
Have
we,
you?
Mark?
For God's
Oh,
sake.
something like
There's
that.
no
Yeah,
work
we've
in the
been.
construction industry. We may as well just retire and move on, don't it?
Oh,
It's got a bit dire straits, isn't it? It's really quiet, and I hope it picks up
That's
soon. I
the,
really
that's
do.
the thing, and it's like you have to really fight for it now, you know. So it's just fight or flight, isn't it? You either have to sort of make it happen, or take off and go travelling for 6 months, try and ride it out, go Iceland for 6 months, Mark. Like,
Yes, I look like I've been 6 months in Iceland.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but no, it's been all
Well,
right,
look,
been good. How have you boys been? All right?
is yeah, is the bungalow done? Are you moved? I know you moved in, but is it properly done now?
Yeah, I mean, I still got bits to do. I still got loads to do, to be fair. But it's just, yeah. I mean, look, it's stuff that's probably just stuff I want to do rather than like a necessity. So it's all like livable and stuff like that now. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. One thing I need to do that I've been sort of procrastinating about is I mean, it's not even the right time, but I had this barbecue last year that I needed to get set up, and I opened the box last summer, and I was like, I took one look at it, and then I started like taking one sheet out of this barbecue, and then another sheet, and then literally within the same breath, I then started just putting it back in the box. It was almost like a reaction. So I was just taking it out, and then just automatically I was just putting it back in, right? Like, yeah, I'm not even going to put that together. It's just going to take me bloody ages, and it's yeah. I mean, I can put it together, but it's going to take me probably about 3 hours, I reckon. It's like it's one of these self-build ones, like it's a coal one. Um,
Yeah, I had one of them, and then when you're three-quarters of the way through, you realise you go and put the lid on. You realise that you've got
It's
it's back
offset.
to front. One of the bits is back to front. You've got to take it all
all
back
day,
again.
all day. It was so funny because I weren't even thinking at the time. I was literally just taking it out and then just putting it back in, like, because I just knew that I probably had like 2 hours spare, and I was like, I know this is going to take me like a 3-4 hour job, and like you say, the wheels are going to be backwards or something. Like the wheels will probably be on top of it at this point. It'll be like it'll be like where the tray is or something. I don't know. So, yeah.
Was you ever a
Well,
Lego
well,
Technics man?
Do you know what? I used to love Lego way back when, but and Connects. You say Lego Technics?
Yeah, is that a bit before your time then, Charlie? Is
Lego.
it?
Well, I know Connects and I know Lego. That sounds like a
I don't know what Connects is.
hybrid
It
of
was
the two.
always you progressed from Lego. It's like Cubs and Scouts. You went from Lego to
But
Technics.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that was way before my
Technics was
time.
all the hydraulic power and stuff like that.
Fair play.
oh, blimey.
Yeah, no, not done that. That sounds way too advanced for me, I tell you.
Well, it's good to have you back anyway, Charlie. And look, today we were talking about saying right up your street,
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
and I'm going to say the word to you. It's called neats, and we'll talk about that. And that's it's about young people. We're talking about something that doesn't get much attention, but the future of young people in the workforce.
Yes.
Right now in the UK, there's 1 in 8 young people that are not in work, education, or training. So that's what they call NEET, NEET. And at the same time, young jobs for young people, assistant roles, admin roles, and junior office roles, and the same jobs AI is starting to automate. So the question we're going to be asking ourselves today is like, are we quietly moving first rung of the career ladder away and making it more difficult to get young people into work? But before we start that, let's see what's been doing your head in. I'm sure there's been plenty of things done your head in over the last few months, Charlie, and you, Mark. Who's going to start?
Do you want me to throw one
You
out
go
there?
for it, Mark. You go for it.
Right, I want you two to visualise this because I bet this has happened to you as well, right? You're walking along or driving along, right? You're dying for a bottle of water, right? You pull in a garage or a shop, right? You go in there, you grab your water. Look, Mark's just drinking his now. You grab your water, you get to the counter, right? Bear in mind it's £1.50's worth of water, yeah? And you go, hello, mate, just the water, yeah? And they go, got the app? I go, what? No, I haven't got the app, right? And then they go, oh, right, yeah. Got the card? No, I haven't got the card. There's the one, I put the £1.50 there about 10 minutes ago. Like, can I buy the water? Oh, right, and they see you haven't got the app or the card. 1 minute.
We don't take cash.
Yeah. Well, there is that. There is that. That's coming round now, isn't it? But my point is, everywhere I go, they want the app or the card. So the reality is, for me to go Christmas shopping now, the first thing I've got to do is go to the Apple store and ask if they got an iPhone 17 that's got a 4 terabyte storage on it, because I got to get all the apps for all the shops I'm going to go in tomorrow. Like, what is that?
That's like the parking app, though, isn't it? When you go to a parking place, you've got to have a different app for a different parking slot. You must have 16 different parking apps.
I've actually got a
park somewhere.
Yeah, the parking apps.
I've got a folder on my phone called Parking, and I've got Ringo, I've got Park something. I've got all of them.
I was in one yesterday, a car parking space, right? So I'm like, right, okay. So obviously, can I just pay for this? Like, okay, might have to like call up a number or something and put in the digits, like the location of the parking space, and then like it's all paid for. Set your hours, etc. That's what normally happens, isn't it? But like this one, it's got 3 options on there. So you can download an app. You can either pay inside or you can scan it. And then it takes you to a website and you can pay on this website. So then I'm like, okay, so I was like, okay, I'll do it inside because I just know how long this is all going to take, right? So I thought, I'll go inside. So then I go to this machine and it's like, oh, you can pay for your parking. But then obviously it sort of implies that you should pay for it like once you're done, as opposed to setting the amount of hours that you're going to be there for. So I was like, okay, that's fine. So I'll do that once I'm done. So then I'll go and do my thing and then I come back and then I'm pressing this button, pay for parking. And it doesn't work. So I'm keep pressing it and it's like it's just not working. There's no like out of order function at all. So I'm literally there for like 5 minutes trying to press this button with like, I'm thinking that my finger's not working properly. So I'm using different fingers to try and like put to go through the parking. And then I'm like, okay, so this ain't working. So I'll record it, right? So then if they try and dispute it, then obviously I can send them the recording to say, look, it didn't work. And then I'm like, nah, they're just going to charge me anyway. So then I try and like download the app, that's not working, and then I'll go and scan the thing instead. So now I've done all 3 of the things that they say, and I've still not paid yet. And then yeah, the website starts to load, and then I manage to pay. But ain't it a faff? You're actually so right.
Yeah, that's what does my head. So that's what does mine in. What about you guys?
Well, for me, yeah, I've had this bugbear for a little while, right? And okay, so like if you're going like and stopping off, like often they have this at service stations, right? So you go in and you'll go to a toilet, right? You do your thing, and then you go and wash your hands, and then you go to the blow dryer, and it'll be you sort of see whether you're sort of in luck or not, right? So it depends on what blow dryer you're getting. So obviously, like you try and press like some of them, half of them don't work. And you press the other one and it works all right, yeah. And it's just a normal blow dryer, and that's fine, right? But what's doing my head in are the Dyson blow dryers, right? I don't know if you've seen them, right? But you have to slot your hands in, right, to then dry your hands. So I do that, right? And to be fair to them, most of the time they're working, like they work fine, you know? So, but you put your hands in, and then like I've just cleaned my hands already, right? And then I've tried not to touch anything as well, because I'm a bit of a germ freak, so I don't want to touch too much going on there. I don't want to get too many germs, COVID or whatever. And so then I put my hands in, and then all the water that's left from like probably 100 other people that have used it that day is sitting in the bottom of that tray. And it's then splashing back, like, on my hands, like, up my, like, shirt, everything. And I'm sitting thinking, what the flipping hell is the point in this whole situation? Like, why are they doing that?
I agree with you. It's the worst design. I don't know how to get away with it. And it is exactly how you explain it. It's like full of water and shit and germs.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what is that about? So yeah, that does my head in, I tell you. Yeah, I'm like I'm now picking the toilets that I go to, depending on whether they got a Dyson blow dryer or not.
Well, I'm on a. I think I'm on the opposite of a wind up this time.
Go on.
So to update those people who haven't listened before, I had a big rant, didn't I, a few months ago about Costa Coffee and or Starbucks, I think it was, sorry, and how the Grande and the Venti kind of thing. So it was me moaning that I didn't want to call it that. I just wanted a medium. I just want to go in and ask.
Did you have a Starbucks card, by the way?
No, I didn't have the card either. But I'll tell you what. So I was in LA. So I'd got up in LA and I got up quite early. Obviously, the clock's all over the place, and really lovely sunrise in the morning. And I walked down Santa Monica Beach, beautiful, lovely beach. Forget about 1,000 homeless people that seem to sleep around there, which was another story for the American goings on there. Like you think, well, what's such a beautiful place, and they just don't care about the people that are living on the street.
So
but that's another
sad.
thing. Anyway, so I'm in a really good place. I'm walking, flip flops on, shorts, just walking. Got a meeting in the afternoon, getting ready for that kind of meeting. And I'm walking down. And I think, I just go back over, and I'm walking up, and I'm going to get the bus, because I thought that's the best way to get into the bus into Beverly Hills. And by the bus stop, just a few yards, there's a little Starbucks. So I goes into the Starbucks, and I think, Mark, don't be a twat. Just you're in a good mood. Use the right terminology. Just use the right terminology. So it gets there, queued up.
I love how you're prepping yourself to order a Starbucks, like
Yes, I am. I'm
like psyching yourself up, like you can do this, Mark.
I am. I'm saying, look, they're not going to like that I'm not a local anyway, am I? And I'm just going to sound, with my accent, people think in America, they think I'm Australian, which is really winds me up, being from London. And so I walks into the Starbucks and gets there, and I said, I'll have a latte, please, a grande. I mean, how polite's that? And she goes, what's that, a medium? Yeah, winding me right up.
She
Winding me right up. It's
She's
like,
watching the
I
pod.
almost thought she had watched that episode and thought, here he comes. I'm going to have him.
That's amazing.
And I said, yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And then she shouts out, yeah, one medium. And then she goes, can I have your name? So I says, it's Mark. And then she goes, is that with a K or a C? And I went, now you wound me up because of that medium. I said, it's with a C. Like that. And it ain't, obviously. Anyway, I'm waiting there. And someone's shouting out, Cark. Cark. What? Does that mean Mark? She goes, well, it says Cark, C-A-R-K. Can you believe it? Yeah, that's. I don't know if it done me head in or that I walked away, got on the bus and I had a little tickle to myself. But that's when I got into one of those autonomous vehicles, by the way, guys. We'll talk about that another time. I went into one of those.
Oh, nice.
On the way back, I got into
The Jags.
I thought I'd have a go at one of them, a driverless vehicle in LA. And
That sounds quite good, doesn't it?
we're going to touch on a little bit about AI today, but it's definitely the end of every taxi driver in the world. What I was really interested in, going off piste a little bit, but while we're on it, listening to another podcast, a famous podcast, I think it's the Diary of the CEO the other day, and they had the CEO of Uber on, and I think Stephen said to him, how many drivers have you got? We're talking about these Waymos or whatever they're called, autonomous vehicles in LA, and he goes, well, in Uber, we've got 9.5 million taxi drivers linked up to Uber worldwide. And he said, so what are you going to do with their 9.5 million drivers? And his answer was, they'll just have to go and get another job.
Oh. Really? Just plain as that.
I mean, it's the first time in AI that I've, we all play with AI, don't we? We do scripts and we do things, bits and pieces on AI, and we have a look. But it was the first time I've actually physically thought, there's a real impact to jobs. You know, which leads me nicely on to that point about, you know, Mark, I know you've got some stats as usual, and you'll have your views, Charlie. But you know, every generation that's come in has needed work, haven't they? They've started off with assistant kind of work. You bring them young people in, they do that kind of crap work. We've all been there. If you've not been through uni and all that, you just go in straight away and you get on with it. But how many of those roles are disappearing? And when you're looking at things like legal assistants and bits and pieces like that, you know, you don't really need them anymore. You know, the AI is really taking over, and that impact. That's why I thought it was a good subject to talk about. It was not just about AI today, but it was about the fact that some of those real roles that we really need, the entry level roles, seem to be disappearing, or are they? And, you know, Charlie, you'll have your view on that. And Mark, I know you've got a few stats that you might want to...
Yeah, so obviously you brought us in with a bit of an opening statement about it, and I've got a few stats just to give some tangible figures on what we're talking about. So if we talk about youth unemployment is between 15 and 16% at the moment, which is a lot. And this is what I can't get my head around, because if that's true and the construction industry's got a shortage, why are these people not falling in? So, look, here's a few more statistics, right? Overall, UK unemployment is actually, and this is higher than I thought, is at 5.2%. And that's from the Office of National Statistics, the last period being October to December 2025. It was 4.4% in 2024. And it's now close to a 5-year high, excluding the pandemic. Mark spoke about NEET earlier. 950,000 young people are NEET, and that's not in education, employment or training. That's what that stands for.
There's 950,000, a million young people that aren't doing anything every year.
But what's interesting as well, right? So there's two things I'll run through this quickly. Only 75% of working age people are in work, by the way. Yeah. And then here's an interesting one that you've got to consider. 20% are inactive. Inactive means not looking for work, but basically retired, sick, student, caring, or discouraged. So you've got two things to consider: inactive and then NEET. Yeah.
But is it because those roles those entry level roles are disappearing, or is it because are we actually seeing a real start of a structural shift with how people enter the workforce? Is you know, we used to fall in, didn't we? You used to have a Saturday job, and then you probably might get from that Saturday job, you know, plant hire especially like that. You get a Saturday job sometimes in the yard, and then you'd become a driver or you'd become something else. I mean, you know, if admin roles, for example, disappearing, or is it because they're disappearing, or is it because of AI and we're quick to blame that, or is it because the economy is so bad that companies don't see the administration side and the accuracy of having good administration and tidy paperwork that important anymore?
I think, do you know what? I think you've hit it nail on the head there, Mark, because I think historically, and you've got to remember that in our generations, we've seen computers come into work, not just AI. AI is a recent thing. We've seen the computerization of a lot of stuff. I mean, if I roll back to my early days in A Plant, you know, we were delivering collection tickets manually, and then an admin person would put the contracts on the system. So, in effect, you're right, really. In effect, you would start out as a junior clerk, a call centre agent, maybe a customer service person. I started out originally when I left college as a retail assistant. I used to work for Dixon's, yeah. But are these jobs? When I think about it now, if I was a young person now again starting out, are these jobs there? And I don't know if they all are anymore, because things have been computerised, mechanised, and now, as you say, AI is doing actual work for us.
So what do you think then, Charlie? What's your what have you noticed? You know,
I think there's a mix of sort of this. I think that you know, from what I've seen, I know that there's I think really like nationally like a decrease of about a third of entry level jobs in the UK. Since I think 2022, if I'm right in saying that, and which is a significant amount. So that's a third of all entry level jobs that have almost decreased, you know, over the last sort of, you know, four or so years. And I think that there's a huge I think there's lots of different reasons for that happening. I think that obviously there's, you know, in sort of recent years, I think cost pressure is a massive thing with businesses. Obviously, you know, we've all sort of experienced, you know, hikes in the likes of national insurance and the likes of, you know, sort of business rates, you know, all of the taxes that come with that. And I think that you know, just all of the taxes that come with running a business in general. And I think that the pressure's on for a lot of businesses, and you've got to think as well that there's a lot of SMEs out there that you know, sort of smaller businesses that just aren't, they're sort of being put into the same category as some of these bigger boys, and you know, they're not necessarily getting the help and support of lots of other you know, that they need, I think, to operate. So, you know, there's just so many businesses that I think are just being really sort of squeezed as much as possible. So when you think about that, and you think about, well, you know, obviously bringing somebody on at entry level, how much of a risk is that? You know, you've got minimum wage that's gone up nowadays, so it's not like you can sort of get somebody on a cheaper level, you know, and sort of bring them in, you know, on the cheap, if you like, to sort of, you know, and spend 6 months to a year or 2 years getting them trained, because they come at a huge cost as well. So
your point is that maybe they need to be more skilled then, and how do
no,
so how
it's
do
not.
we
That's not
get
my point.
become them more skilled?
My point really is that
Oh,
maybe in some sort of way, have I just gone off camera?
Yeah, he disappeared.
I think you need to do like close all your other apps, mate. That's what it's saying here. Refresh. Well, look, we'll wait for Charlie to come back.
I
so he
think
can hear us.
I think Charlie makes some good points. I think it's a lot. It's a, you know, as we expand and there's more people entering the job market, I think it's getting more competitive as well, isn't it? People are
I'll leave and
competing
come
for
back, by the way.
apprenticeships.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go on, sorry. Hey, the bungalow's not kicked in yet. It's like
He's got no Wi-Fi there.
The Wi-Fi's gone. It's when
Yeah.
you try and do things remote. Yeah. So, I mean, what I was trying to say to Charlie there was, you know, job-ready candidates. Employers still want young talent, but do they want the more experience? And if that's the case, how do you do that? How do you deal with that? I mean, because obviously the further education route becomes, you know, a difficult route to go down if you need someone work ready as such.
I think, you know, look, there are still key issues out there. You know yourself, the education system is still heavily academic. Yeah. There's huge digital skill gaps, mainly because the digital technology is now, especially with AI, is now increasing faster than we can keep up with. Again, AI literacy is missing in schools because it's so new, probably. And our apprenticeships, they're not expanding fast enough. You know, when you look at it, only a small percentage of school leavers actually go into high quality apprenticeships compared with, say, university pathways. So I suppose you could argue that we've built a system for the last economy, not the next one. Yeah.
Hey boys.
Here we come.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Have you turned off all your apps? We're just saying that maybe the bungalow hasn't got sorted out the Wi-Fi yet. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that might be the issue. I don't know, but it literally said that there's something else. It
popped up here. My technical producer here turns around and told me that it was down to the fact you've probably got too many apps open on your computer.
Yeah, I don't know. It said, I think on here, that it was being used for something else as well, which I wasn't obviously on another meeting, so there we go. But yeah, sorry to jump in there. So yeah, the point that I was, I guess, making was that I think that there's just a huge amount of cost pressures on businesses now, and I think that it's not as simple as just bringing on somebody that's lower level and getting them trained. It's almost too expensive for businesses. So I think that. Yeah, I guess, in one side, Mark, that you could get, you could obviously bring people on that are more experienced and more trained, at an early level. So let's say they were more sort of geared towards working life during school time, so they can jump into those types of roles quicker. That could be, sort of one side of it.
That's an interesting thing. That's an interesting point. Is, do you feel then we need to, we're talking about job-ready candidates.
But I think
we obviously don't get them ready in time. Do we need to look at that schooling education system? That was the next thing I was going to get on and see, how do you release people, not full time, but as you're saying, maybe a few hours a week into local business. I don't know.
possibly.
I don't want to use that word internship or anything else. But so let's talk about that. The education system. I mean, what needs to change? I mean, are we actually preparing the young people for jobs that actually exist then? Or are we still educating people into the job market that no longer exists?
I think
Is there something different there?
it's like what we were saying before. I think the education system's massively, heavily academic. There's huge digital skill gaps, that's for sure. We're struggling to keep up with technology, especially with AI. So AI literacy's missing in schools now.
How do you fit that in then, Mark? I mean, what you've just said there. So before we just jump over that, digital skills, AI knowledge. You give somebody AI knowledge, and then with the time they leave school, it's completely obsolete because it moves that quickly.
Yeah, it's really hard. But I think what they should probably teach then is they should probably teach you how AI can assist a business. If the colleges or the universities were to talk to businesses more and find out what they're missing, where the bottlenecks are of the business, where AI could help, then you've got people that would come through that have done AI, trained in AI, know how to get the best out of AI. That's the thing. Everyone knows about AI. And like you said earlier in the podcast, Mark, we can use it for a script or something like that. But do we really know how we can get the best out of it? And we probably don't. And there's some young people that are coming through now that can perform almost next to miracles on AI.
But this is where I get a bit confused with AI, being an old git. Is that it's not about the what you can do. I mean, so imagine we train all these people to understand AI. Then how many bloody podcasts and videos and things like that can we actually do with AI that we actually need in the world? That's actually going to generate money and cash. I mean, what is the route? I mean, we're talking here is you're talking now. By the way, it's not just young people in employment. So we can talk about apprenticeships in a minute and why construction isn't there, but we're talking about they're not in education. And this is 16 to 20-year-olds, yeah? And then there's the next bit, 18 to 24-year-olds. But 16, 18, 19-year-olds, they're not doing anything. And we're talking, 15% of the population or whatever the population percentage is.
I think there needs to be some sort of shift in terms of like the curriculum and education in a way, because I think that times are changing and they're changing very, very quickly. And I think, the traditional routes and the traditional jobs that were once there aren't necessarily there anymore. And I think that the education system was always probably geared up for those traditional jobs. And so if they're not there anymore, then you're gearing, anyone that's, any of the sort of youth up for failure without, sort of, I mean, they must sort of sort of go into it and sort of what would you say, like rehash it, from time to time, like the curriculum and what they're, what they're teaching these kids. But there needs to be some sort of like overhaul by the sounds of it, because if there's, such a huge amount of youth unemployed at the moment, there is a reason for that. So would that be the answer? I don't know. But I also think, there needs to be a level of support for businesses as well, to encourage it. So,
well, that leads us on then to what can we we've talked about why and what's going on, but what can we do? I mean, we've got like the government talks a lot about apprentices, don't they? They
Yeah.
bang on as if every new government that comes in, it's all about the youth and apprenticeships, and we're going to do something. But many businesses still say that it's too complex, it's too much paperwork, it's too limited. You know, for example, you need a black art in some kind of science fiction to work out the levy in construction, don't you? You know, there's people that employ, you know, a friend of the pod, Paul Skitt, people like that go and sort out training strategies to be able to get the funding. I mean, I'm doing a training accreditation with the spray gun at the moment for Spray Lab, and trying to get it accredited. And it's a black art. I've got 2 people helping me do that, 2 outside of in the company. So one is like, why are apprenticeships expanding fast enough? What are we doing wrong, especially in construction, as you said, Mark? How many people waiting for an excavator driver this morning?
It's interesting, and there's a few possible reasons, really, and you've hit a good one already. It's the apprenticeship levy structure. That's the trouble. It's too complicated. As Charlie mentioned earlier, cost is another one. Cost for certainly smaller businesses is a lot. You know, it's a lot to consider. Again, as you're experiencing now with your spray gun, Mark, the administrative complexity is trying to get that all done. Lack of awareness amongst young people. You ask young people, do you know what apprenticeships there are? They go, I heard there's one at McDonald's, and that's the thing.
Sorry to cut in there, Mark, but yeah, I think that's a massive thing. Like the awareness and like the knowledge of the industry, I think, needs to sort of change as well. There's almost and the image maybe, you know, to a certain degree. I think that there's still a perception maybe of being sort of a dirty, you know, environment, or like potentially unsafe, or you know, compared to like a traditional, you know, office job or something like that. You know, I think that it's a hands-on, it's a physical role. You know, there's, you know, people that are earning money on TikTok these days. So it's like, you know, is the perception, is the image of the industry good enough for you know, sort of the youth to sort of get the buy-in?
It's funny you say that, Charlie.
Do you think then, Charlie, that the youth today they're sucked into that vacuum of, do you know what, he makes money on TikTok, so I can. And that's the life for me kind of influencer, rather than getting the nut down and going, like, we wouldn't have had that situation, would we? We would have been told we got to get out and get a job. And nowadays they're not being told that, are they? Because they think they can make money on social media, perhaps. I don't know.
I think so. There's people aren't like hearing about these roles as much. So I think that even though the companies are shouting saying they want more apprenticeships, I think that, you know, there's I think that the youth don't necessarily hear about these, and I think that they look at, you know, the likes of social media. You know, a lot of, you know, youth people. I mean, I'm not saying everyone at all, but it would be hard not to look at, you know, social media and see, you know, these people that have become incredibly successful. They look like they've become incredibly successful overnight, and they're living the life of Riley, and they're doing things that, you know, no one in their wildest dreams could ever do. And they
Isn't
put it
that
down
just
to
1% or 0.0001% of the world?
It is. You're absolutely right, and that's the issue. I think that it's probably, you know, nice things, nice cars. They get such a platform, and you know, and I think that it's quite easy for, you know, young kids to look at that and think, oh, I want to do what they're doing, and you know, I want to do that, and I think that that's probably, and that takes, you know, a hell of a lot of effort, a hell of a lot of graft, you know, a lot of hard work. But I think that you sort of get the perception that, you know, these people have become successful overnight, like I say. And I think when you're sort of paired with like a normal job, if you like, and then a job like that where you're seeing all those perks and all those benefits, I think that naturally they're going to want to sort of go and do that, and not necessarily put the work into, you know, sort of into just the normal career. You know, maybe it's not exciting enough. I don't know.
It's funny you should say that, though, because we had a TikTok video where Mark was talking about apprenticeships a little while ago, and you should see the comments on it. The comments on it are, "Oh, construction's too hard. Construction's long hours. Construction's..." So all of those factors that you just mentioned a minute ago are absolutely true, Charlie. People do think construction's hard. There was ones on there. Oh, health and safety's gone too mad in construction. So there's all factors for people.
It's the most commented clip that we've had. To be fair, and it was basically when I was trying to explain that kids were looking for jobs differently than they did before, where we knew we were going to be a carpenter, a bricklayer, an accountant, whereas now kids don't look that way. They look at what company they want to work for. And construction in that survey it hit 97. I think it was Balfour Beatty's hit 97 and McDonald's was 36. And that was my point. More people want to go to McDonald's because of the perception. They look at the advert, they go into the environment. And not only that, McDonald's actually offer some good opportunities for young people to go in and find out their feet, Not too much pressure on them, hopefully. They've just got to serve people and then all of a sudden they can become a manager. But so moving to that, I mean, what sectors do we think, let's talk about the jobs that will actually be, to help the young people, anyone wants to listen or watch, what industries will grow and which ones will shrink, do we think?
Well, it's an interesting one. I mean, look, apprenticeships are often strongest and have been in construction, engineering, skilled trades, like you said, yeah. But it seems to be that they're weaker at the moment in like the digital side, business services, tech services. Maybe because they're changing a lot. They're just emerging now, yeah. It's an interesting one. It really is, and I think
healthcare is one, isn't it? Surely you can continue to work in, because of your physicality and, I know that it's never been that attractive for people, but that's one that's probably not going to get affected too much by AI. I know they're talking about, diagnosis and stuff like that, but you've not got too many robots operating at the moment.
No, I tell you what though, I was talking to a nurse the other day and they was telling me about how AI is coming in. You get a nurse to a ward. Imagine a ward with 8 people on it, for example, yeah. And you'd have, say, maybe if you've got like a high intensity ward, you might have 2 people on it. So because you've got people that have got temperatures are changing, they've got illnesses or whatever they got. Well, now what they can do is they're saying is somebody can have a scan or have their blood taken. And the results are uploaded into a system where AI reads it all and everything, then knows what their normal range of temperature should be and things like that. And you can be running around the ward and you can get told that, say, Charlie, because he's had his blood test and we know the AI knows what's wrong with him and knows that his temperature could peak. So the AI is now alerting me that Charlie's temperature is starting to peak without me even visually seeing it. It's a numerical fact that's been registered and now I'm being alerted to it. So it's really interesting how that's going to come into healthcare. But you're right, Mark, officially healthcare is hands-on, so that you'll never change that. You can have alerts and data.
But there is a massive swing, and people say there's always been change, and I've heard people, there's always experts out there, and I've heard change, and where, everyone, I think 90% of the population way back used to be farmers, and then when the combine harvester came in and the tractor and everything else, that went down massively, and then, but the transition from that into the industrial revolution, where you had people like farmers then it was easy to go into factories. It was still quite manual. It was still kind of structured, and factories took that burden. But I think this is a massive change. There's nothing. Not everyone could be an AI technical assistant. They're not built for it. So we're looking at sectors that are shrinking. What you can keep out of call centres, customer care, administration roles. You're talking about skilled trades is still a big one. That's where construction really needs to stand up, doesn't it? Really needs to stand up.
That's a huge thing, because I think the plant fitters and just the engineers of this world. I think that there's going to be that there won't be as much of an impact in that side, compared to the let's say like you say, like administration. Or I think that the biggest thing is that if you're working in a job that's like sort of predictable, repeatable, it's a very process driven. I think that's where the job can be potentially replaced. But there's a big thing at the moment where I've sort of seen a lot. I think it was probably on, again, like shout out to Stephen Bartlett's podcast. I think that he interviewed a very sort of well-known AI expert, and I think that there was sort of emphasis on the fact that a lot of jobs will be aided by AI. And they will change due to AI. They won't necessarily all be replaced by AI. And then on the next breath, you've got Elon Musk saying, there'll be no salary in like 10 years' time, and everyone will be on like a standard, don't save for your retirement, I think he was saying, because, it won't mean anything, because everyone will be basically on like a state salary in future, and no one will need to work. Which is absolutely,
sorry, in my opinion,
well, it's insane, isn't it?
Who's going to pay for that? Who's going to pay for that? Where's that going to come from?
I have no clue. I have no idea how.
And then who's going to make the decision on how much you need to live? So the point of that, I'm moving on to government policy then, really, on what the government will do. So if the job market is changing so quickly, is the government moving fast enough? The questions you need to ask yourselves is AI education start earlier in schools? Should businesses get incentives to hire young people, better incentives? And should the apprenticeship funding increase? What's your thoughts? But have we got the money to do that?
The trouble is technology is moving faster than policy. And that's the thing now. If you think about it, if AI changes the workforce faster than we train people, the gap will only grow, won't it?
Yeah, big time. And I think I don't think they're acting fast enough in the slightest, being honest. I really don't. I think that these things are changing very, very quickly, and I find it very strange in a world where you will see a lot of AI now coming in. I mean, we're obviously seeing it every day, AI replacing people's jobs or aiding people's jobs, making companies a lot more efficient. I find it insane that there's, this cost inflation to bringing on, people that obviously need to work, that need jobs. And actually really what we're doing here, by increasing the cost of employing people nowadays, what you're doing is you're almost incentivizing businesses to adopt more and more AI than actually bring somebody on for a position. So I find it very, very strange that that's happening. Like if you thought about it, if it was the other way around, if you thought that if the cost of employing somebody was, let's say, I mean, it will never probably be fully cheaper than AI, but let's say it was incentivized, or it was appealing enough to do that and bring somebody on instead of invest in AI. I mean, you'd just think you'd have so many more people potentially, sort of bought on, and so many people supported, rather than obviously, just having one system doing like 10 people's jobs. It would never happen, like that. But I mean, it's interesting to me that they're incentivizing for people not to be bought onto a business or bought into a business nowadays.
This is where you're seeing at the moment in the UK, I suppose, especially because we're living, we can see it. The change in politics, I don't think you realise, or the structure of politics is changing is massively. The Labour Party used to be the party of the people, and now that the working class people are now moving towards a reform, and everyone's saying it's nationalist and the reason why people go more to the right usually in hard times, and it just shows, I think, that the question is for another time, but does a socialist government work where they're so intent in trying to sort out the individual person to get their minimum wage up and to get money by taxation, and that's the way they do things? All it does is affect the general population, as you say. Now for the first time in our lives, I think that we're seeing that we don't have to change anything, because the technology is available, that I don't have to train people now. I can go out. So you raise the minimum wage, you raise the national insurance cap, I don't have to worry, because those people I just won't employ them. I'll get an AI agent to do most of that work, which is a real shift, isn't it? And something that politics in general, or your thoughts around politics, needs to change, and government needs to change. I mean, the socialist, the old traditional left and right just doesn't work anymore. It needs to be more entrepreneurial in a way to be able to get people into work, and that's a capitalist kind of way. But you know,
Pers-
I'm getting a bit.
Personally, yeah, I think the biggest and the best thing that the government can probably do, to support youth, I believe, is to, ensure that the curriculum is absolutely up to date. I don't know how, I'm not in education, but obviously, I don't know how easy it is to change these sorts of things or how quickly. But I mean, maybe use AI to do it. But you could almost like sort of if you are
AI
able to. Yeah, yeah. If you,
AI to change the politicians. We could have AI running the
yeah,
country.
yeah.
That would be brilliant.
Hey,
The
look,
actual fact is it probably work.
it's
I
interesting.
think that's what we're going to go to.
There was one country, I don't know who it was, but they had like a AI politician. They have like a reasoning body that's AI and that's a politician. But what I was saying was like if you were able to manipulate the curriculum, quickly, and because it needs to be manipulated quickly to keep up with the trends, and you're able to set the youth up to sort of be to sort of work in those types of jobs that are now going to be coming into play as a result of AI, and you're able to set them up. I mean, don't forget, we're on a worldwide stage where lots of different countries are fighting for the AI space and fighting for really strong people in AI. And if we're not setting up our youth to deal with AI and manage AI and work with AI and build AI, then are we really just setting ourselves up for a fail? Are we not future-proof in our country? Are we not future-proof in our economy?
I think we're the crux of today's conversation is that we're not future-proofing. That's the point, isn't it? The young people, we're not future and protecting them. But look, let's summarise before we finish up, because we're getting on to that end bit. So let me just summarise and just give you some facts here again, just so we can close up. But one of the facts, around 950 people, as we said, in the UK are currently not employed in educational training. That's nearly 500,000 or nearly 1 million young people aren't working, studying or training. And that should concern all of us, I think. The youth versus national employment gap. As we've just said, Mark said, youth unemployment is 3 times higher than the overall employment. So overall employment is 4 to 5%. Youth unemployment is 15 to 16%. Even when the economy looks healthy, young people are still struggling to get started. So that's what we should all take away from this. We're talking about disappearing entry jobs. Many traditional entry level jobs involve tasks that AI can now perform in seconds. I mean, that's a concern. Drafting emails, scheduling, data entry, all the stuff that we used to do if you was in the office at the beginning. No, I don't think AI, as you've said, is replacing in jobs yet, as you said, Charlie, but it's replacing tasks that juniors used to learn from. So what do we then get them to do? The apprenticeship gap, we've already said this. I mean, the amount of times we've gone through apprenticeship restructure in this country, and it's still still account for a small share of post-school pathways compared to university routes. People are going to university because maybe they're putting off the inevitable. I don't really know what there is out there, and there's nothing for me, so why don't I spend the next 2 or 3 years doing Anglo-Saxon history, and hopefully I'll come out the right way at the end of it and get a job in what I don't know. We said many employees, you said, Mark, it's too complex, too slow to expand. The first rung problem, how do we get most careers ring is if we've come through a non-educational background, which a majority of children still come through, it's like it begins with low skill entry jobs. These jobs are shrinking fast. The skills mismatch, employers increasingly say candidates lack digital and practical skills. It's amazing. I actually think that is when you get young people into your business, they don't know the basic IT skills, some of them, around even Word and Excel and anything else we use. They pick it up really quick, but you've got to spend quite a bit of time doing that. And maybe rather than talking about the subjects that they cover in school. Maybe they need to be more practical. My mum always used to say, I don't know if you used to, but she used to say, well, I don't know why they don't teach people to change a plug and change a wheel and do practical things at school. And I think we've got that next stage, is that no one, in the practicality, no one's learning the modern day skills as they're coming out. But yeah, it's something that it's been a fascinating conversation, I think, because it's something that we could expand more and more on. I don't know if any of you've got anything else that you want to add before we close up.
I think potentially just some, probably from my side, like a bit of maybe advice. You know, if there's, I don't know whether, you know, we could even share a little bit of that, guys, you know, in terms of, you know, for youth, based on our own experiences. I mean, you know, from my side, I feel like, you know, the best, or some of the best advice I could give in this situation is to sort of not give up with it. You know, if you're sitting there and you can't find a job and you are just struggling, and maybe you're feeling a bit down in the dumps about it all, and you're thinking, when am I ever going to get an opportunity? I would say to you, you know, don't give up. You know, I think that it's a cliche, but you know, there will be something that comes good, and get good at something. Use the time as well to get good at something. Get a skill under your belt. You know, even go and work for free. You know, believe it or not, you know what, you know, it's a mad world, but go work for free for a few months. It might be ridiculously hard to do. I don't know, you obviously might have bills or whatever of your own, but I think if you're in a fortunate enough position to go and work for free and go and, you know, get some skills under your belt, then go for it. And you may well get a job as a result of it. You know, go find a small business, you know, turn up in person. Don't just rely on applying for jobs. I keep hearing all the time, I've applied for 200 roles and there's, you know, no one's come back to me. Go to them as well. Give them a call, you know, call the company up. Go and see them in person. Tell them how good you are. And again, if you don't feel like you've got the confidence to go and do that, go and get that confidence by putting yourself out there. Go and join a club. Go and join a, you know, I was looking the other day, there's like speaking clubs, there's, you know, drama clubs you go to build up some confidence, where you can go and speak to someone in person and just say, you know, like, look, you know, I'm looking for a job. I can do X, Y, and Z, but I'm willing to do anything. I'll work for free, you know, for, you know, 2 days a week for the next, you know, month or so, see how we get on, and, you know, potentially I'll be able to do, potentially you'll be able to take me on full time. Just something different, be a little bit different. And I think that it stands out.
And I think for the, you know, for companies, for employers as well, you know, the message that we've spoke about today is there's a pool of people, a lot of young people all looking for work. And if you've got apprenticeships, if you've got jobs that young people can do, you know, there's a lot of people that are actually out there looking for jobs, and they just need a chance.
So maybe we should be a little bit frustrated when we hear our colleagues turn around and say there's a skills gap. We can't get people in the industry. And we've got 15 to 16% of youth unemployment, and all available. And, you know, I remember working on site when I was 16, but nowadays they don't want you on site when you're that age. It's ridiculous, you know. The whole generation, or the last few centuries of people working in construction have been between the ages of probably 14 and you know, and 18 starting out. You know, why too much regulation, too red tape. But look, thanks. I mean, today, just to close up for the listeners, you know, what can we say? You know, every generation needs a way into work, don't they? You know, for decades that pathway's been simple entry level roles, assistants, juniors, office jobs, retail work. But technology is changing faster than many people realise. So the real challenge isn't stopping technology, it's making sure the next generation still has a ladder to climb. So if you've all enjoyed the conversation, maybe people can comment. I think there's going to be some great clips and great comments. People are grateful they're commenting, and it seems to ring true that the employment side of things in youth has been getting the most comments from us on our social clips. So the link tree will be underneath in the episode. So if that's it, guys, I appreciate you coming back on. It's good to see you again, Charlie.
Yeah, good to see you, boys. Absolutely.
I'll put a 50p in the
Yeah. I should have like I'll start powering it. I need like a bike or something to power the electricity. He'll be fine.
That's it. Maybe that's it. You need to be riding. You've seen that Black Mirror one where they have to ride.
Yeah, I saw you comment on a post on that the other day actually, and I thought I've seen that exact episode. It's a good episode.
It's a good episode.
Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, guys. Well, we'll leave
Thanks,
it there.
guys. See you later.
Cheers.
See you later.
The opinions expressed within this podcast are solely the individuals and do not reflect the opinions and beliefs of the sponsors or its affiliates.